Beaches Authority. We're here at the Fenton River, with the STEM program. So we have been monitoring this river for some time now, I'd say about two to 3 years. What we have been looking for is both chemical and physical contaminants. We have been also doing site assessments along the river, looking for point sources of pollution. This area hopefully has been earmarked for development, for recreational purposes. So even more, it just stresses the importance of what we are doing in terms of testing the quality of the water for recreational use. We have we notice a lot of activities taking place, animal rearing, also agricultural farming, and it's within close proximity to the river itself, and yes, it would contribute to the water quality. We're here to basically give them a little training in terms of what we do at national parks, part of our job, to conserve and protect our environment and our waterways, and to give them a little hands-on experience as to how the procedures are done in terms of collection of water quality samples and analysis of those samples.
And sterilize, okay? Now when collecting your sample, you open the cap and you try not to touch the top of the bottle because you do not want to contaminate the top with your hands, okay? Now when you're taking your sample, you dip it down into the water. It's always appropriate that you rinse, okay? After you rinse, once or twice, you fill the bottle right up to the rim and not all the way up to the top, okay? Because when you fill it to the rim, like this, you won't really get any chance to shake when doing the sample analysis, all right? So you always fill it right up across by the neck of the bottle, and then you cork it back without touching the top or touching the inside of the cork, because your bottle have been sterilized before, all right? After you finish doing that, you cork it and you put it in the cooler, and then you move on to point number 2. Now point number 2 is where you use the YSI, right? Now before I move on to the YSI, the reason for collecting that sample is because we normally do phosphate and nitrate analysis, okay? And the phosphate and nitrate analysis will be done in office or at a lab, right? It cannot be done here because it's time proceeding, all right? Now what I have here is a YSI. This YSI is used for recording the conductivity of the water, the pH value of the water, the percentage in terms of degrees Celsius of the water, and also the pH value in MV value. Now, before suspending this into the water, you always have to remove the first cap, which we already did by the vehicle, and then we select the site, which is Fenton, right? We select the site,
the YSI meter. So if it's a new site, we have to create it. If it's not a new site, we go in and we locate that site in the YSI meter, and then we can start our testing. And the parameters, as Mr. Williams would have mentioned, that we would test for would be pH, dissolved oxygen, conductivity, temperature. Everybody hearing me? Yes. Okay. So once we have selected the site, or we have created that site, then the next thing is to suspend our probe into the water. The probe must be fully submerged into the water. Okay?
It's fully submerged in the water. You want to make sure that all of your sensors are covered and it's not leaning or touching the bottom of the river, because sediments would get inside of the sensors and they normally cause to damage the sensors, okay? So we tend not to hold the probe all the way down to the bottom so that sediments could contaminate the sensors, okay? Now,
there are three sensors that you can find in the probe. They are the pH sensor, the conductivity sensor, and the dissolved oxygen sensor. So we have three sensors in the probe. They are very sensitive, and we have to be careful when we suspend the probe, right? Not to get any sediments trapped in there that can damage the sensors. Okay, so there's a technique in suspending the probe, which is to not toss it out or throw it, or to get it at the bottom of the riverbed where sediments can get into it, but to hold it up and suspend it in the water.
okay,
And
so does anyone have a timepiece?
What? A watch?
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the second point, I would have one of you do the testing and do the sample collection. All right. Well, each of you will do the collection of the sample just now after we finish the 2 minutes. Okay. So, you time in for me? You're gonna tell me when to start, and you're going to tell me when to stop. Okay.
when the data has been recorded, we stop the meter. So we start it at the beginning and we stop at the end of the 2 minutes. And then we can go back into the meter and retrieve the results. Okay?
Okay, so you ready? Start. After the 2 minutes, you will tell me when to stop.
What are you doing? What? Collecting my sample. No.
You can collect yours. You can collect yours upstream, okay?
What are you doing? Yes, the truth of this time we found. Well, you rinsed 2 times. There's no.
Make sure that you put it to the neck of the...
Close to the riverbank. And just above this riverbank here, we have a pig pen. Okay? And from that pig pen, you would have pollutants flowing into the river. Okay? And that can create issues as it relates to bacteria in the river water. Right? So when you do your testing on Monday, that will confirm the results from those tests that you will be performing on Monday at the lab would confirm if there's any bacteria present in the water, okay? And as I would have mentioned, there's a pig pen. These are things that can affect or influence bacterial levels in water. Okay, we have animal rearing, we have things like agricultural farming that can affect the chemical processes, human waste, things like development along the river. All these things can affect our water quality. Okay, so when you do, we're not going to do any bacterial analysis here, but it will be done on Monday at the Fisheries lab. When you go to the lab, you would do those analysis, and the results will tell you if there's any bacteria present in the water.
Wait, how far you want to go? Right here. Scroll back up to start now. Now hold this here. And whenever you are ready, you can just press start. Go ahead. Time for 2 minutes. So you're gonna let this count down 8 times, okay? Okay, no problem. Time is finished counting down 8 times, that's the 2 minutes.
Okay. So we have our sample bottle here. Can everybody see the sample that we collected? Right. And we are going to pour the sample into the tube. We are filling it at the 10 milliliter line, and then we are going to insert it into the chamber. But before we do that, we must scan a blank. Right? The blank is what it is going to match it with, okay? To be able to give us the result. Okay, the blank now, we're going to fill that with some distilled water. So we have a bottle of distilled water. Distilled water is just purified or boiled water, okay? So we have our blank. We're filling one of the tubes with a sample, which is a blank sample. It's called a blank sample, which is distilled water. We're going to insert the blank in the chamber first. So the meter will read the blank, and then it's going to match the sample with that to give us our result. Number one. So we'll start with sample number 1, which is right here at the river, at the entrance to the river, the first sample that we took. And we're going to get the results immediately. Okay? We're going to find out if the water is turbid, if there's a lot of suspended particles, or the water is cloudy. These are indicators of poor water quality. Okay?
So first we scan the blank.
So we have scanned the blank, and now we're going to scan the sample now. So we have our sample, and this will give us our result.
So how's the scan being done? Is it like the machine puts a hole in the bottle and take out some, or is it how does it?
Yeah. So 8 for you.
So 8 is the turbidity for sample number 1. 8. Anything above 50 would be regarded as high. Okay?
So it's AFAE.
Some of them have samples from the top one if you want.
Yeah, so look at
So it has germs inside of the water.
you can determine that when you go to fisheries.
So when you go to fisheries and markets, if there's any bacteria in the water. We are just doing the physical and chemical testing now. So the minimal waste, all these things can contribute to the presence of phosphates and nitrates in our waters. Okay? So we are going to wait for a change to see if there will be a change in the color of the water. Immediately if we see a change taking place, we know that there's a presence of phosphate. Okay? And when we do the same for nitrates, we'll wait to look for color change. We'll let the chemicals set a bit in the water. Wait, and then if there's a color change, then we know that there's a presence of nitrates in the water.
Chilling with me because growing up I didn't realize that there were so many different careers in fisheries in particular that I could be a part of. So molding these young minds to let them be aware that you don't just have to be a marine biologist to work at fisheries. There are other areas that you can go into and become a part of the fisheries, the fishing industry. I studied science. I studied chemistry and food chemistry. So that's why I'm able to be a part of the fisheries division, to be in here working in the lab because, as you know, fish is a food. So I know about all the measures you need to control it and keep it safe. So having these kids inside the lab and exposing them to these new techniques that they may not learn while at school is very important, and exposing them to different aspects. The experience will widen their mind and just know that yes, we go and buy fish in the market, but there are all these other stuff happening in the background to ensure that this fish that I'm buying is safe, from the water that is used to wash off the fish to the ice that's been made and how they store the fish and keep the fish. And there are ways that we can validate or test to know that these things are actually being done. So they doing these tests, conducting these tests yesterday will expose them to it and open their mind to it. So examples of a fish processing establishment is the Kingston Fish Market. There's one in Beckway called Beckway Seafood. There's one in Union Island called Union Seafood. And we have Rainforest Seafood in California. You all know Rainforest, right? Right, so these are establishments where they will process seafood or any type of seafood related products. And we also do air quality monitoring at the establishment, where we will ensure that they don't have high levels of yeast and molds or any type of bacteria.
We are happy to have students who are part of the STEM summer program here with us at the Fisheries Division, and in particular at our lab doing some work. We have been collaborating with a number of institutions. The National Parks, Rivers and Beaches, we have been working with them over the years in having their water quality testing done at our lab here at the Fisheries Division. And I know part of this summer program is working with the National Parks, Rivers and Beaches. And the students this year doing some work with our quality unit in that they are having their water testing done. It is the first time we have had them here at the Fisheries Division, and we are very happy and pleased so that students can come and be part of what we are doing. Having the information is very important to them. The exposure is also important so that they can decide whatever they want to do after this summer program. If they want to be a member of staff at the Fisheries Division, we will be happy to have them here to be a part of our development in this area. Lab here has been established now since 2006, thereabout. We always have a lab at the Fisheries Division, but not to this extent. We, as you said, the exposure, we have not gone around letting persons know that we have this lab, but also we have been working closely with the Bureau of Standard. They have been operating out of our lab here now for the last 4 to 5 years, and they have been doing a lot of work with other business communities and other institutions here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And yes, we are happy that persons can come and join us and be part of what we are doing, and also that we're providing a service. And as a government institution, that's what we are here to do, to provide a service. The students, we are very, very happy to have you guys here. And now that you know, I would like you to spread the word around that we do have a lab at the Fisheries Division, and we are doing work. I was happy when I was approached by Mr. Gums to have students to be part of what we do here at our lab. And I think it's a very good program. The age range is mind-blowing, because you can start at 5 and you can go up to 20 odd at the community college level. And I think it's a very good program. And I would like to see more organization or NGOs get involved, and not only at summer, but other times during the year. It can be something continuous. I know, yes, students have to go to school, but we should also look at those students who have left school and are seeking jobs. You know, I know STEM might not be able to do it, but I'm encouraging other persons in the community to have programs like these so that our youths can be involved in meaningful activities. And it means a lot to the government of St. Vincent, the Grenadines, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the Fisheries Division. We have capable and competent staff. I am very proud of those that we have with us, and what we have to do is just to encourage other persons to get involved. There are other professions out there. So
Could you take that again?
Yes,
There are other
yes,
professions
a
out
lot,
there.
yeah.
When you're ready.
I just want to encourage the youths to do something that is different. There are a lot of other professions out there that they don't know that they can practice here. We are thinking that we have to go to university. Yes, we do. We have to go to university. But we have persons in-house who have gone to universities and they are now back to assist us. And that is what we like about persons who leave and come back to make a contribution for the further development of our country.